not strangle myself and everybody could hear me at home. Appreciate everyone. I know it's a little bit warm. Method to the madness, you know, the beautiful skyline that we've got here behind us this morning. You'll understand why we situated or coordinated the briefing up here this morning, despite this heat. And forgive us in advance, but we'll try to take care of this in the short order. No big secret, you know, 80 homicides so far this year. Shooting cases have been up this year. And, you know, one of the underlying or overarching questions we quite frequently get is, you know, why? Why is this kind of thing happening? And I don't think we've made it any big secret that, you know, far too frequently it's, you know, these petty squabbles that sadly escalate into violent behavior. That's one of the big common factors that we find with a lot of the violent crime. Other questions we frequently get is, where are these guns coming from? You know, you just have an abundance of these guns out on the street. And although we can't quantify it, you know, despite popular belief, you know, it's not this undercurrent of some underground black market where these guns are being purchased and sold. Far too frequently, it's often lawful gun owners who have their cars broken into. In fact, as we sit here today, 470 cars alone in Charlotte, and we're not even through the year, have been broken into, had guns taken from them. 200 of those cars, and I can't even say this with a straight face because it just really astonishes you, 200 of those cars left unlocked. So it's not bad enough to have an unsecured gun in a car, and then you're going to go on top of it and leave the car unlocked. Far too frequently, those guns are winding up in the wrong hands, needless to say, and that's what prompts a lot of this violent behavior. It's not anything that's lost on us, and it shouldn't be lost on the community either. Sergeant Worth Muhammad, this is something that's near and dear to him. He's with one of our specialty units that are really focusing in on larceny from auto cases, more of a focus on trying to minimize or prevent those guns being stolen from cars. And I'd like to introduce him to talk about some of the work he and his team members are doing with their campaign. Sergeant Muhammad.
Thank you, Rob. Good morning, everyone. As Rob mentioned, we are in the process of rolling out a campaign called Lock It or Lose It. For many, this is not a new slogan. However, due to the overwhelming number of firearms that have been taken from motor vehicle thefts, we're relaunching it. The main goal of this campaign is to bring awareness and to educate our community members as to these trends, and so that we can try to prevent them. Only through community collaboration will we be able to see these numbers come down. And from that, we also are seeing that these issues continue to impact our violent crime and challenges our ability to keep our streets safe. So I'd like to share some numbers with you. Year to date, we have 462 stolen guns on our street, 462. 208 of those were taken from unsecured vehicles, so roughly about 45%. This year's report also shows that these same guns have been used in other violent crimes, and only 12% of those guns have been recovered. So for example, on August 25th, CMPD had a larceny event where 6 guns were taken. Of those listed items, we had an AK-47, an AR-15, and 2 shotguns. On June 30th, CMPD had another larceny event where 9 guns were taken from that incident. So as you could tell, without a collaborative effort, we're not going to see these numbers come down. We have identified 2 community partners with Hyatt Gun Shop, who has agreed to join this campaign and offer gun safes and gun locks to gun owners at a discounted rate during this campaign. We also have identified Blackstone Shooting Range, who has also agreed to share the same information at their concealed carry classes. And again, we're not going to be able to do this by ourselves. It's going to be a joint effort. So CMPD is asking for your help and support with this initiative, and doing just the simplest things. Removing sensitive items and firearms from our vehicles will help. Thank you.
Questions to Sergeant Muhammad?
Sergeant, it seems pretty obvious here. You've got a gun, it's got a value, you know, $400 or $500 you may have paid for it. Why are people locking their cars?
I think, you know, everyone thinks that they're not going to be a victim, and, you know, just out of mind, out of sight type of mindset. But the reality of it is, we're not challenging the Second Amendment, but at the same time, we have a responsibility to secure those firearms.
You said 452 stolen guns this year. I don't know if you have any stats from last year. Is that a lot? Where are we usually at?
Yes, actually, compared to last year, it's actually down. Last year we had 516 at this time, and this year we have 462. But the numbers are continuing. Unless we do something about it, the numbers will continue to rise.
What else for the Sarge?
Are there any charges that can come up to the gun owner, even if they're leaving their vehicle unlocked with a firearm inside of it?
That's a good question. At this time, there isn't anything in place yet, but conversations will continue, and we need y'all's help, support to make those things happen.
And a gun owner is not responsible if their gun is stolen and then found in a truck, correct?
That is correct.
I appreciate it, Sarge.
Thank you.
No how hot.
Last, I just wanted to this is with the flyer and pamphlet you'll see being circulated throughout the city of Charlotte. And again, we will need your support on pushing this campaign. Thank you.
We can get that to you electronically. Appreciate you, man. I know how busy you and your team are. Thank you. And just one last thing, if you could obviously push and communicate the message that he was just trying to get out to the community and amplify that through your respective platforms. Another important piece of information for lawful gun owners, you got to retain those serial numbers too for those weapons. If there is an event and a sad, tragic event and your gun is stolen, it's awfully difficult to reunite you with your weapon if you don't have that serial number. So just incredibly important that you retain that serial number of those weapons. So heaven forbid it is stolen, we have an opportunity to get that weapon back to you. I want to shift gears. I said there was a reason why we were out here today, and I appreciate everyone's patience through this thing. Arkevius Armstrong, I don't know if, I know some of you know him. We've had conversations offline about Arkevius. Arkevius is a guy who spent the better part of a couple of decades incarcerated, just making some, really poor decisions along the way when he was growing up. And, instead of just, sitting there and stewing for those decades, he comes out of incarceration and he's actually catapulted into a direction that really felt that he wanted to impact young people to prevent or minimize the opportunity for them to wind up in the same kind of situation that he did. So he starts this nonprofit back in 2013. He's out 7 years doing it. It's a program called Step Up to Leadership. And essentially, this is Arkevius and his team. They get out there and they work in our underserved community. These communities where, these children are prone to winding up in, developing into a lifestyle that isn't conducive to a healthy lifestyle. Over the course of that 7 years, there's been hundreds of children, some of whom actually are behind me right now, these young guys that are behind me right now, along with Arkevius. Tremendous work. Chief Jennings, one of his core 4 values is community collaboration, always looking for opportunities for us to help the community help themselves. And this kind of aligns with Chief Jennings' value with that community collaboration. Chief Jennings and I were watching one day on Facebook. You see Arkevius out there. I believe it was Delahaye Court. Out there in the neighborhood trying to pull all the children together that are going to come to his mentoring program. He's got his own car out there with him, right? He's just piling all these young people in his car. Chief and I were talking, like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a way that we could help Arkevius along to be a little bit more impactful with his mission. That's where Scott Clark Toyota comes in. They get the word from our Emergency Needs Fund and Officer Rick Zorb, who's been with us for a little while. He makes the call. They pick up the call. They step up like they always do, Scott Clark Toyota. They step up. This vehicle, this 2017 vehicle that you see to my left of me right now, is going to be in the fleet for Step Up to Leadership. It's going to be part of Arkevius' arsenal now to assist these young people. I want to invite Chris Cady, if I could, from Scott Clark Toyota. I know you didn't want to say much, Chris. He's a man of few words, but I think your actions speak a lot louder than words.
Yeah.
Maybe just a little monumental handoff here.
Yep.
The keys to that car.
We're just excited. We're excited to be part of this. Excited about getting to know Arkevius and his mission and helping to support it. And this is the beginning of our relationship, and I look forward to deepening and strengthening this relationship as we move on. Thank you. Thank you.
I want to say, again, thank you to Rob. And as you see the young man behind me, this is just a few, just not even a smidget of how many young men who's going to benefit from having this transportation. And one of the things I was speaking with the team of Scott Clark is that one of the best teachers is exposure. Exposure. Many things that a lot of kids don't get the opportunity to see, to go, the places that they need to see and the place they need to go is the lack of transportation. Again, I want to thank from the behalf of CMPD, Chief Jennings, can't wait to work alongside of you. I can't forget my great friend, Kirk Putney, along with Brad, Sandy, and Rob, these people who've previously worked alongside of me, and every opportunity they got, they make sure they pointed me in the right direction. They helped me out every chance they can. So I want to thank them first. And I want to just say, just to bring up some of the kids that I'm going to be working with, y'all can come right on up. You know, I was having a conversation with them on the way here, and I was just telling them, you don't know the amount of exposure this is going to allow you to see. And, you know, we want to teach these kids and show these kids, but, you know, when you don't have that reliable transportation, when you don't have that access to take them, it limits you. Now I feel like that I don't have those limitations no more. So now, again, I am overjoyed. I'm so excited because I can't wait to take the first trip with these young men, you know, to take them to the beach or take them to the mountains. Now I have the access to do that. So Scott Clark, thank y'all for doing that. And they just say, listen, we're not just gonna do that. We're gonna wrap it for you. So they're gonna deck it out for me. So I'm so excited about that. And again, as you see, this is only just a few of young men that you see right here. And so now, again, now the work has got to be done. And I want to thank you so much for this opportunity.
Any questions for Arkevius or any of his young men that he's got with him?
How many kids do you serve?
Say it again.
How many kids do you serve?
Right now, we're currently having like 13 due to COVID, but prior to COVID, we had at least like 40-some kids.
So when you see all the violence that's happening in our youth right now, being someone trying to help them, what do you think this is going to do for this community?
It's going to do a lot. And the reason why I feel like having transportation, it's going to open up doors to where you can go there and pick them up. I don't know how many ever have tried to mentor kids and use your own personal transportation. Well, that expense coming out your personal pocket. You know what I mean? Even though I still have to make sure the services and everything, but you know what I mean, it serves a lot of pressure off of me now to be able to have that access to go into communities and say, listen, well, we got this going on where we can take these amount of kids and go to wherever place. So it's going to make a big difference.
What would you say to people who maybe don't understand how having this opportunity to see more of the world does play even out of time?
It plays a huge difference. And that's why, you know, just having opportunities to partnership with Scott Clark, CMPD, having that access to take these young men places so you can broaden their mindset of understanding that they can have anything they want. They can go anywhere or anywhere around the world if they choose to. You know what I mean? There's no limitations. You know, I used to be that individual, like Rob said, I was the individual who was stuck mentally, emotionally. I was drained. But traveling around the world now, speaking, going to San Diego, going to Cancun, going to Hawaii, all of these amazing places, doing these skydiving, all these things. I never thought a person come from where I come from can do these things. And I think when these kids see that, it opens up their mind to say, you know what, I don't have to think at this level. You know what I mean? Like I was telling them, I always have a plan B. What do you want to be? And whatever you want to be, you can do it. You can be it. And so having transportation, now I can go places and take them places without worrying about if somebody's going to let me use their van or not.
Arkevius, I'm going to ask a dumb question.
It's never a dumb question.
Yep. Can you spell your name for me?
It's Arkevious. Last name is Armstrong, Armstrong.
Just in the interest of things, I'm sure Arkevius and the young fellows, they'll make themselves available afterwards for any one-on-ones if you guys want to advance anything. So if you wouldn't mind standing by, just in the interest of the heat and everything else like that, I'm going to slide back in here. Okay. Lindy, appreciate you. I know we've got a lot going on at once, a lot of moving pieces. Lindy, by the way, who just does an amazing job every time she comes out. Hope that thing's got air conditioning in that thing. Yeah, and may not want to open the doors too high because you probably have a gaggle of all of us that are going to jump in that thing. Appreciate Scott Clark, Toyota again. I think this is the third time over the last several years that they stepped up like this. They always step up we call, they pick up, they step up. It's just, it's just the way they do their business there. So just wanted to say thanks again. I know that a number of you had some questions for Chief Jennings. If you see that little canopy that's set up just not too far behind you, we'll start coordinating that and hopefully get everyone up out of this heat soon. Appreciate everyone sticking with us and being patient, and hopefully everybody's going to make it through the rest of this thing. Thanks.